All right, welcome everyone here to the Water and Sewer Commission's meeting, Monday, August 16th. Before we get started, I'd like to all rise and say pledge allegiance.
Oh, sorry, Peter. Thank you.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for coming.
Yeah.
We're gonna do something a little out of order here. We're gonna get the Weston and Sampson water updates first, if we could, with Tara, who's on the line.
Great, thank you, Steve. Karen McManus from Weston and Sampson. I just want to give an update on the Weld replacements 5 and 6. 6 is going pretty well. We just finished up the step test, and we're scheduling, waiting for a nice day. I believe actually should be start of the week, actually, next week. We're hoping to get the 48-hour test going, assuming there's no heat wave again. But that'll go in. We'll do the 48-hour test, do some water quality sampling, and wrap that up. Then submit the information, review it, and submit the information to DEP. That's really where we're at. We've kind of not really had too much of an update since I talked to you guys last, except for the fact that the step test is complete and all looks pretty good. As far as the other future Well 4 and Well 1 work, I proposed a technical memo the last meeting, and I have sent in contracts to Frank. You have in front of you, hopefully, a copy of Well 4 contract and a copy of Well 1 contract. Feel free to take a look at that, sign it at this meeting, or if you want to wait till next week, if we have the next meeting next week, that's totally fine. Well 1 is basically for, very similar to what we're doing for the initial phase, is basically setting up 4 2.5-inch test wells. We'll drill those, do some water quality sampling, check it for basically for flow rate, water quality, try to find a nice little lens there to make sure if we want to make the next step to replace Well 1, that'll be viable. Well 4 obviously does need replacement, so that's a separate contract. That will actually include 4 test wells as well, do some water quality sampling, and then the next step, obviously we know that we need to replace Well 4, and it's going to the treatment plant, so the water quality is not as critical as Well 1. But the intent would be to make the next step with Well 4, we'd actually do some Conservation Commission work and work with them on an NOI to do the actual construction of the wells, similar to how we did Wells 5 and 6. So, but we went through that a little bit last meeting, but I just kind of want to get the formal contracts in front of you. So it's totally up to you. I'm not sure if you had a chance to look at them in detail, but it's the same pricing that we put on the memo. So it's $35,000 for the Well 1 contract, and I believe $60,000 for the Well 4 contract. And I'm open to questions if you have any questions or concerns about the previous technical memo or moving forward with the next project.
Well, I think we gotta move forward, especially with number 1, for sure. Certainly number 4, but definitely number 1, in my estimation. With the issues that we've got going on over there, I think this is going in the right direction, and I'm sure residents on the Pine Street area will be happy to see we've got some movement going on, and that we're trying to be as proactive as we can in regards to making things better in that general area and getting better productivity, hopefully, out of that well. But this is the first step.
Exactly. First step, make sure that there's some viable options there. We want to make sure that we can at least increase the flow rate a little bit, or if not, stay the same, and hopefully find a nicer well source with a little bit better water quality as well.
And I believe those will need a vote from you guys also.
You need a vote for both of these?
I believe so.
Okay.
A vote to approve.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you
So
want
that's just to approve the Well 4 contract and to approve the Well 1 contract.
Yep, that's the one for that amount.
Yeah, we'll do them
And
separately.
we need to do that in 2 separate motions.
Separate, correct.
Exactly.
Yep.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the contract for Well 1 with Weston and Sampson.
I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And
Motion approves. Well 1, the
okay.
contract is stated by Tara.
And I'd like to make a motion to approve the well 4 contract with Weston and Sampson. That's this one, right?
I second it. All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
I'm looking for the red tab.
Well, number 4 also passes for the amount of, I believe, 60,000
$60,000
for that one.
well
Yep,
4.
correct.
30. Did I need to say that in the motion?
No, that's okay. Great, that's great start, Tara. Thank you. That's especially one. We're gonna sign
I
these.
think,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
excellent. All right, great. I was just going to say then the other part of it is that Frank and I are certainly working with the town manager and as well as the local congressman to hopefully get some local funding from the state actually to help with funding for. So
That'd be fabulous.
you know, that's on the docket as part of the infrastructure improvements that they were moving forward with. So I believe it passed the House at least, and I'm not sure if it passed the Senate yet, but we're waiting for the update from the congressman. But the hope is that actually all the work for Well 4 from this point all the way through construction and completion will be funded for free. For
Now-
the town, which
now
would be
didn't
great
we
to go through,
Did we get some fun? We got some funding, correct?
It's not in place, so it's still,
But we got.
we moved
they're
closer
approved.
to.
Okay.
I believe the Senate was the last step, but
Yeah, it passed the House, but it still has to go through the
I
Senate.
believe
Okay,
that's
great.
exactly where it's at.
So we'll just talk about that when it goes through instead of just in case it doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
either way, we're planning to do it regardless of
Right,
funding,
right.
whether it's in-house or external, but this is the first step in making sure we have the water
Fantastic.
availability in those locations.
All right, great step. I love moving forward. That's always good. All right, Tara, is that
And
it?
then I guess
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
that was it on my end. Unless if there's other questions by the commissioners, feel free to ask on water. But that's pretty much what we have going on right now as active projects.
It's fairly straightforward, and I think that we can all agree that this is the direction we need to go in, and we look forward to working with you guys and getting things much better on our end. So we're gonna sign these up and do the copies and do our end over here and get things squared away.
Well, thank you very much, and we look forward to working with you as well. And I also appreciate the commission taking me on a little bit earlier during the agenda. So appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tara. Appreciate it. Enjoy your vacation.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Tara.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for dialing in.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you. Okay. Well, that's good. So, well, one is always, all right. Is that music? Beautiful.
Signed it twice, 'cause I forgot to use the blue pen.
Knock that down. We still want it active so that lady can call in.
Is she calling in or she?
The lady, I believe, was going to call in.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's weird.
All right, well,
We'll have to leave that in the background, I guess.
then we can do superintendent updates while we wait for Mrs. Jackson.
Okay. All right, we'll start off with leaks. It seems to be the common topic every one of these meetings we've had in a while now. Crews responded to a few service leaks in the past couple weeks. The most recent was actually pretty significant. It was back on the 11th. It was over on Burt Street. The leak was actually on our side, which hasn't happened in quite a while. Our side meaning between the water main and the property line, the portion that the town actually owns. It did require an emergency shutdown of the water main in the area. The leak was significant enough that it was unsafe to try and excavate and work around the pressure line. Once the crews were able to excavate and get down, we shut it off at the corp. We're able to dewater the hole, start livening back up the areas that were off, and the on-call technician, a long day, stayed probably around dinner time, flushing a few of those areas that were affected by the shutdown. A few dead ends in that area took a little bit longer because we haven't been able to flush. So those people benefited from us being out there, and it's just one more area that was turned over and now has the fresh plant water going to it. Notices of that emergency were posted on the town web pages, as has been done in the past. This time around, John was actually able to use the Norton Alert system for our portion of it.
Yep.
The alert went out. If somebody didn't receive an alert, you can sign up for it on the town website. It's absolutely free. You can choose how you get alerted, whether it be text, email, call. So now that we have access to it, it is a slight learning curve
Yeah.
to figure out exactly how to get it to work, but unfortunately in this event, we used it as a trial and it worked out okay.
Excellent.
So we will use that in the future if we feel it's warranted. Certain people only sign up for certain alerts, so if there's a selection that was something you didn't receive, you may want to go back and...
You could sign up from the town website?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Let's see. So touch a little bit on what Tara was just saying there with the contracts. You guys, they're signed for well 1 and well 4. The hopes, we would like to see higher yield at well 1 as far as gallons per minute.
Yep.
And once we determine if that is our maximum yield available in that area, we can base the new well location on that, and then determine if it will need filtration to remove whatever concentrations of minerals are in that new specific area. There's always a chance that we may see a lower concentration if we go outside of the cone of influence that hasn't been packed for years and years with iron and manganese. But that's the first step. Thank you guys for signing that. Well 4, as you know, is one of 3 of the larger wells going to feed the water treatment facility. The restriction that we have there is actually twofold. One, it's limited by its surroundings based on the fact it was relocated from within an existing well location which has high iron and manganese. We can only move it so far.
Yep.
We got a decent yield, but it was short-lived. So now with the option of having the filtration plant online, even if we move into a different location within that confined space that we believe has heavy soil pack, the screen size can be larger. So we're gonna see more specific yield because we can now treat the water where we didn't have the option in the past. So we may not see a huge increase there in yield or gallons per minute, but the water availability should increase by increasing the holes on the screen. If you think of it as a spaghetti colander.
Yeah, right.
Some of them are a little bit bigger, your spaghetti falls through.
Sure.
We're allowed to do that now because we remove the iron and manganese with the treatment facility, as opposed to the ones that have little tiny holes.
Yep.
They're gonna clog up and actually restrict your flow. So again, all steps in the right direction.
If we do get more gallons per minute out of it, are we permitted to take more out?
We've been
Well,
under our
okay.
permits on all
Perfect.
3 of our larger wells. And our treatment facility was designed at our maximum permit, so it's not like we're gonna exceed what we have in the
Perfect,
treatment
yep.
facility either. We'll jump over, staying on water, East Main Street Mass DOT Improvement Project. Notice was sent out, I believe that was last week, John? Am I thinking correctly with that? Notifying about the request for a shutdown of the water main in the, I guess you call it the municipal district of Norton, the heavy impacted area up there on 123, would include library, town hall, police, fire, North Cottage, Shop in the Pines, all of the major areas there. It appears the Mass DOT contractor has not been coordinating with anybody other than the water department. So fire was unaware,
Yeah.
town manager, town hall, they all were taken back by the notice that went out, and so it prompted quite a few phone calls. A lot of discussions have been going on now. There's certain requirements that the fire department is gonna want met. There's certain requirements that the Board of Health is gonna want met for a shutdown taking more than a few hours. It's a scheduled shutdown, it's not an emergency. You know, it should have been well planned from, I believe the state engineers would be the ones on the hook for this, but I don't wanna point and throw darts. I mean,
Yep.
it's anybody's guess why it wasn't spelled out and why the coordination wasn't there, but we're working to correct that, you know, with all the different agencies and entities that are involved with this, as it's gonna affect multiple different people. You know, Steve and I have been on the phone about it numerous times, and I know his number has been passed off to the owner of the construction company. I don't know if you guys had a chance to talk about anything yet.
Not
but,
since my message I left with Andy, is it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Andy is the contractor foreman. So we have yet to set that up, so as of right now, that work is on hold.
So
Did
it's
he-
not going forward tomorrow as scheduled?
And it is important to point out that it's not water department work that's being done, you know, we're just responding to requests to shut the main down, so.
They're
I think it
moving
was
portions,
two.
sorry, John,
Yeah.
they're moving portions of our main,
Right.
and what we consider something small in the water business is a 4 or 5 foot piece, and you chlorinate that by swabbing it or something like that, and then do your work, and then will keep our, the public safe and everything like that. But they're talking extensive, in an area, we talked about 60 something plus feet.
Yeah.
That requires a pressure test and chlorination. So, I know Frank and I have talked about this on a few different occasions. If they're gonna do a bunch of that work, they should set up some sort of temporary water lines to make
Yeah,
sure
so you're
everyone's
saying
fully
Run them
serviced.
over ground, right?
Fully serviced, it's the warm weather, so to have everyone fully serviced, chlorinated, safe, and then do all that work, all that move the main work, and then pressure test and chlorinate the whole lot.
And that's just
And then switch it over,
linking up
everything.
fire hydrants together to get it to pass. How do you do that?
No, there's actually companies that rent out different sections of pipe, and they're held together
Oh.
with Victaulic couplings, and they go on above ground. Some of the driveways, depending on the slope of the entrance, would
Yeah.
have to be trenched so that the pipe can recess,
Okay.
so that cars don't high side on them.
It's a lot of work, but it's also, this is a huge main in our town.
Oh,
And
yeah.
this is a
It's
big
probably
water
the most
carrier,
critical
so,
street
yeah.
in the town to do this on.
So it's, and a lot of people are gonna be affected by this, and we're.
Did we
obviously
put
very
anything
concerned.
out saying that it isn't happening tomorrow? Like, is there still people in town expecting it to happen?
There has been nothing to rescind the original notice. We're waiting to hear back from the state. We obviously will post something that it is not ongoing, that they are
Right.
still coordinating the efforts. It is imminent, however we get there is gonna determine when.
Okay.
We need to have them come in and we need to just sit down so we can have our input, so we're all on the same page, in regards to what's gonna be done, how it's gonna be
Yeah.
done, who's gonna be affected, so we can,
Is that something they
Alert
would do,
properly.
come to our meeting and talk about it, or, I mean,
that's what I would prefer.
It's what we would like to see
That's what
happen.
we would like to see.
Cooperation and coordination with the state is difficult in and of itself.
yeah,
A lot of those people don't work in this area, they sit behind the desk. Not that there's anything wrong with that, unfortunately, I've ended up there myself. But to see the impact and be here firsthand and talk to the different parties involved is a lot different than throwing an email back and forth
Right, right.
about, why can't we
Absolutely.
do this, why can't we do
Absolutely.
that?
well, we have a meeting still scheduled for next week. I know it's a week away, but this one will,
Right.
of course, do we
Yep.
wanna try to get them on that? I know it's kinda soon, but,
We can definitely ask to see if anybody's available to come down. I can't guarantee that the person we get is gonna understand everything that's involved. It seems like there should be multiple people involved. There should be the
Yeah.
original, state engineers, and we should also have a representative from the state, if not the inspector who's out on the job.
Yep.
Along with the foreman or the boss of the company doing the work. So, I mean, again, it becomes a challenge to get all those people in one room, although everybody involved should understand,
yeah.
just how critical it is for these type of
Yeah.
connections to be done the correct way.
Yeah, I think that's the only way to go, is to get together and talk about this, so hopefully we can reach out to them and they can respond
I mean,
timely fashion, they put them on the agenda.
Emails are good, but that's,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a waste.
yeah.
I guess
Yep,
the
you're
only,
right, absolutely
a
right.
different option would be a Zoom meeting, where you actually get to see somebody face to face. It's
Something like
definitely,
that,
it's
yeah.
nothing like an in-person meeting.
No,
I
but,
really hate them, but,
but at least they
it's
can
an
be back
option.
and forth.
Yes,
you know.
yep, exactly.
We could see,
Live,
we could
back and
actually
forth.
see the plans and see exactly what they're gonna be doing, and,
Steve, what is it?
Pete?
What is it? Are the meetings gonna be in person still?
No, we don't know that yet, but we'd like to have them here so we can actually open up a map and see the job that they're gonna be doing, Pete. So we can, we can tell the people exactly what's gonna be done, how they're gonna be affected, we're hoping that no one's gonna be affected at all. That would be the ideal
Ideally.
thing, that no one's gonna be affected and everyone's gonna be able to have service while this work's gonna be done. We certainly know the work's gotta be done, and we're not looking to stop any work at all, but we just need to do it properly. That's, so we're gonna protect our water customers and residents.
Right, I think you may have seen the email that I sent out, but multiple positives of doing the temporary water, obviously, other than the cost. There's cost and there is time delay, but it solves multitudes of problems.
Yep.
I don't wanna speak for the fire, but I'll explain what was told to me. They're concerned about requiring a fire watch for all those buildings that will be affected by the shutdown area that are sprinkled buildings right now, including their own firehouse. They have concerns about not having water available. If they had to respond to a fire, they need to come back, they need to be able to wash down and decontaminate their clothing with water. That creates a problem. Bathroom facilities for some of the other larger buildings, like North Cottage with 200 rooms.
Yeah.
That becomes an issue there. Same with Town Hall. If it's a municipal building open to the public, you need to supply clean facilities. So I know the original discussion was to swap it and why can't it be done at night? It doesn't solve all the problems, but it does take a few of them and make them a little bit easier to handle. As far as for the business closures and stuff like that in that area. But it's not a solve-all, end-all by just going from days to nights.
Right.
So
I think the first step would be the temp line. This is my opinion. You do the temp line, and it takes a lot of that stuff that costs money out of the equation. Like you said, the watches. That's going to cost them, whatever it costs. I don't even know what the cost could be. But and that's every time we shut it down.
Yeah.
If they could just coordinate and can do all that work at once and get everybody fed while this work's going on, we don't skip a beat. Everyone's happy. Everyone's safe. Everyone's got fire protection as well as drinking water. I mean, shutting it off and turning it on multiple times, we all know what that does. And so the whole surrounding areas, sensitive areas such as Pine Street is right there. That's one of the valves we have to shut off.
It definitely will have a change of direction of flow. I think I expressed this at one of the previous meetings of, how concerning it is.
Yep.
Again, it's something that's going to happen, it's something we're going to deal with, but we don't want to add to it by having areas without water, areas without fire protection, if it can be avoided. The benefit that's going to come from this shutdown, however we get to that point, is there will be additional valves that will be installed that will bring that newer, older main up to compliance, bringing the valves closer together so that in the future, if something does happen, or an additional, repair or an upgrade needs to be made, the isolation will be far shorter than where it is now. In a perfect world, if this was a fairly new main, the valves would only be 1,000 feet apart, and we'd only be talking about a couple houses or maybe a couple businesses that would be affected. Unfortunately, it's not the case, and they are quite far apart.
Now, this upgrade that was gonna happen tomorrow, there's a lot more work to be done on that main in the future. Is the temporary line something that would stay in place for the whole duration of the whole project? Or would it be?
Ideally, that's what we want to do, because then you got one shutdown, and then you got water flow after that through the temps main, and then the next shutdown is when they switch it back to the main that they've repaired and after the pressure test chlorination is done.
Yeah.
So you got two shutdowns and less impact to our system, much less impact.
Now,
to
if
our
it
system.
took too long, though, the winter could impact that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
The water
that's the way you
level.
have, that's when you have definitely issues, yep. So that's why this is an ideal time.
Yeah.
They've got, 3
Which
months.
I'm sure at some point, whenever this meeting does take place, the first thing that's gonna come up is, well, who's paying for it? Well, obviously, I can speak for myself, I don't feel it should be on us. This is something their engineers, the state engineers, should have caught.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
said, we're replacing sections of pipe to relocate this. It's not a couple fittings like Steve had, alluded to with a very simple, low impact
Right.
effect, This is something that was an oversight on their part. Again, like John said, this is not our project, we're along for the ride. It still baffles me, why the engineers would pick relocation of a large utility such as water, to make their other infrastructure work that's not in place yet.
And it's just drainage there.
It is for drainage. So there's multiple questions there, and unfortunately, this goes back long before I sat in the chair. This is back to 17, 18, and 19 when this first started
Yeah.
with preliminary talks. So, all along, they had their intent, they had their marching orders to relocate this section of Maine, or these sections of Maine. The only thing that I changed, or the board and I changed, was the addition of transferring over the hydrants and services from the old, smaller main to this newer one. So there's kind of two separate projects kind of overlapping there, but, so be curious to see how it goes, and,
Yeah.
Yep, but I like Jim's, I love Jim's idea of having Jim, and trying to invite them and trying to get them on the agenda for next week.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that'd
See
be
if we
great.
can do that,
Yeah.
for sure.
Good
Yeah,
idea.
I mean, even worst case, and maybe a call-in if they're not available,
Yep.
but to have some type of communication.
Just start it
back
now.
and forth, yeah.
Start it now so we can nip this in the bud before
Mhm.
it gets cold, like you said.
Yeah, we got time now, but it'll go by quick enough that,
Yeah.
Oh, most definitely.
watch, we'll get a heavy winter this winter now that we want.
I know.
There's a good
We
possibility.
don't want one.
All right, so I'm gonna jump around, I'm gonna go over to 195 Mansfield Ave. 40B project we've been talking about for some time. It's actually on hold because we had some documents that were out for legal review. One is the agent letter and the other is the MOA. So the agent letter allows the applicant to file on the town or the utility's behalf with Mass DOT. The requirements from Mass DOT.
That lady's on the call.
Okay. When was she on, 6?
6, yeah.
Okay. Require the utility to actually apply for the state road opening permit, which is far different from anything I've recall
Yeah.
in many
It's-
years past. I believe the idea is that ultimately the utility is gonna be the one responsible for it after the 1-year time frame expires. And I believe they have concerns that the person doing the excavation in the road, which would typically be the private contractor, if they do something wrong and disappear, they want the utility to be responsible, which is the way it always happened
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Whether they had some problems with this or not, but ultimately they made their changes and now the utility owner, which in our case would be water or sewer, are required to file for the road opening permits to allow somebody to connect to our system in a state road. And that's using the Mass DOT SHAPS program, which I am not a fan of, for lack of better words. It is extremely difficult and I have yet to get it to work on my computer. I've heard from our computer tech guy that my computer might actually be too old to run that system, which will obviously require a purchase of a new computer just to run that software.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen at some point, and it just wasn't something I was looking forward to anytime in the near future.
Yeah.
So the MOA was reviewed by legal and by the town manager, as was the agent letter. They are here for your review. This is the agent letter from District 5. I believe that will require a vote to authorize me to sign.
And we had, and you said legal took a look at this? It was,
That is.
yes, they looked at both of them. Okay.
This is the MOA.
Can you, get on the SHAPS on your computer, or our computer system is not allowable?
I
haven't
for that?
attempted
I don't
on my
believe
own.
we've tried it on John's.
I mean, the computer is how much? What could a computer be? Few $100 bucks?
Through the town, they're
$600
a
bucks?
little expensive. We have to purchase through our
Yeah,
consulting firm
okay,
with specific software in there for viruses and all that, so.
yep. Do you have or do we have some sort of MIS department in town here? Or is this a
We have-
computer,
We have
people in town
a
that are
company that
hired?
works for the town.
Oh, it's a company, okay,
Yep.
okay.
We are able to get them when they are done working with police and town hall if there's time left in their weekly allotment. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it takes a couple weeks before they have availability to come see us, but they've always been good to us.
Can you get, are you able to get SCADA and put information like that on your
I
computer?
don't personally get that on mine because I use mine externally so much, so we
Okay.
have specific computers in
Okay,
here
so
that
it's
don't have
just dedicated,
access
just, yeah, okay, I understand.
externally, yep.
Yep.
Yeah, all in a effort for cybersecurity.
So we need a vote to authorize this, for you to sign this letter?
Yes,
Yep,
And then
that's,
what do we got
And
here?
and
and
vote,
that's
and
the-
also vote to approve the MOA and sign that, please, if you guys agree with it.
yep,
Okay,
And that will allow me to move forward with my portion and allow them to move forward with their
okay,
portion of the connections to the road surface.
pretty straightforward.
okay, so I motion to allow Superintendent Frank to sign the authorized agent letter for 195 Mansfield Ave. Is that right?
Yep, I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Frank, thank you very much. I think, do we need to do anything with that, or just vote, just a vote?
Just to vote on that.
Okay.
And to approve me to sign, which is what just did, so I will sign that, and that will go over there.
And this is the MOA to approve?
Correct.
Okay, I motion to approve the MOA for 195 Mansfield Ave.
I
as
second that.
written.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Also approved MOA.
Nice.
I think probably approve it and sign it.
Okay, that's signed.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right, I believe, based on the agenda schedule,
Yep.
we should have.
Okay, do you wanna come back to you, we'll get Miss Jackson?
Please.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, this time we'll go talk to you about the West Main Street betterments. Miss Jackson, are you online?
Hello?
Hi, Miss Jackson, this is Steve Bishop, I'm the chairman of the Water Sewer Commission. Thank you for coming. Well, thank you for calling in.
I
This is-
first want to thank you for taking my phone call. My name is Christine Jackson, and I live with my husband Russell on West Main Street. And I wish I could have been there in person, but my disability doesn't allow me to leave my home very often.
You understand?
I would like to start by saying I was deeply shocked when I received the bill from the town for $16,000 for something I did not ask for or need to hook up to. When we bought our home, I just want to give you a background. When I bought our home 9 years ago, it came with a brand new septic system. I was never told that I would have to someday hook up to the town. I wanted to mention that I also, from the very beginning, had to buy my water because we couldn't use the town water, and I still always paid my water bill on time. I do not feel that it is fair, or maybe legal, I don't know, to force me to pay the town construction work on the street to hook up to something I did not need. The people already that have new or good systems shouldn't be made to hook up. They should be grandfathered into the new system right now, as these are all brand new. I was also under the impression that when I paid my taxes every year on time, that my taxes also went to help the towns in need, to support the police department, fire department, school, or any other construction that helps service the community. Both my husband and I are in our 70s, and we are retired, and we live on Social Security alone. My husband has many health issues, being that he's had open heart surgery and getting ready for another. He has diabetes, asthma, and a few other issues. Needless to say, he sees doctors very often, and his medical bills are outrageous. So with that said, I have used up any savings that I have had. I feel you're going to put a huge burden on the residents of West Main Street to pay this. Then you only gave us a month, and then you say if we don't pay it in a month, you're going to stretch it over 20 years plus interest, not just the bill, but plus interest. There isn't any possible way that I could actually come up with $1,200 every February on the thousands that I pay every quarter. I'm not sure how the committee members came to this conclusion for the people of West Main Street, because I wasn't pre-warned. I received no letter.
I wasn't asked if I could possibly do this, and I feel it's unfair to think that the elderly people who I know a few of on this street, that actually one couple I talked to that was 83 says, I don't know how I'm going to pay for it. I don't know who okayed this, but I bet it wasn't a person that lives on this street that knows us. I didn't ask for all this to happen in front of my house. And when the workers were working in front of my house, they didn't ask to put their big machinery on my lawn, which made huge ruts, and barely fixed it. My husband had to redo. I think something should be done. I think that the money should come out of the taxes that we all pay and contribute to the town, and not just a few on West Main Street. I just don't believe that the people living on West Main Street should be the only one paying for this when everybody else is using it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. I know that in the past, in other parts of town, we've had this same talk in regards to betterments and what was imposed on people, and we definitely understand your situation without question. But the betterments are set up specifically to pay for the infrastructure and to help out with the infrastructure. I mean the sewer main that went in there, that's going to be serving the people now and in the future. And did we send out letters prior to these?
Multiple notifications were sent out. There were also multiple meetings that we held in person for people to have discussions about the connections, the impact that it was going to have. I believe we had those at the public library.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I do remember that.
So there were multiple
I have to say I did not know of that because unfortunately I'm not on the computer very often or see sites when meetings are going on because I just
You send them out?
stay in my little home and take care of my little home. I just don't. I think. I really do believe that this should be an option. It should be a grandfather that if somebody has, like myself, has a new system. The guy next door to me bought the house a couple of years ago, put in a brand new system just a few years ago, $35,000 worth, and now he's made to hook up. Is that really fair? I mean, shouldn't anybody that has got systems that are 10 years and younger should be allowed not to hook up until the need is there?
Should we table this and talk to Steve about this?
Good. He's not available right now.
Yeah, I know he's not available now. Ms. Jackson, what's your address on West Main Street, please?
It's 99 West Main Street,
Okay.
and I live on the corner of Freeman and West Main.
Okay. Yep, I know the house. We're gonna. I want to talk to our before I give you any kind of information that might be misconstrued, just so I do it properly. I want to talk to our sewer expert, who's not in. He's not in a meeting now, and he could shed a little more insight on options and what we can do. So if you don't mind, if we could give you a call back, and then get in touch with you or invite you to another meeting. The next meeting is next week. For a call, and if that's okay, because I don't want to say anything that's out of line right now. I don't want to.
That's a good idea.
I just want to give you the right information.
Right, I just don't, believe me, I just don't know how I could come up with that money, because like I said, I'm living penny to penny right now because of a lot of health issues that we have between my husband and I I'm like, I can't remortgage. I don't have that ability right now to do it, to add it into.
Right.
And the other thing that I have to mention that I'm kind of like upset with is that, yeah, you want to charge me this money and split it over, but you also want to get interest on top of that, which makes it you're getting more money for the pleasure of dividing it up into 20 years. I mean, how is that helping anybody else to be able to pay it? I can't pay $1,200 extra every February. I just don't have it, and I don't want to sell my home. I love my home, and so I'm at wit's end because I don't know where to turn and how to take care of the situation. I pay my bills, and and I make sure my taxes are paid and everything's done, and I just don't know. I'm at wit's end. I don't know how to handle this. What I'm able to do. I don't know.
Oh, Mrs. Jackson, if you don't mind, we will get back in touch with you for another phone meeting, and I'll be better prepared to answer you properly.
All right. I thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I'd rather talk to Steve. I think it's important. I know he's
Yeah,
the
he can
guru
provide
and-
dates of the meetings and everything, so
Yeah.
we can show when they were. I know we did have limited parties show up to some of the meetings. Some of them were packed that we had.
Yep.
There were multiple discussions about impacts to the road. And we had safety meetings with police, fire,
Yep.
about traffic control and everything. So there were multiple postings for the meetings. I'm not sure if they were handed out house to house. I don't think
Yeah.
that's typical for that type of
Okay.
operation, but I'm sure Steve would have all of those
Yeah,
dates. And,
that's why I just didn't want to.
The betterments, in theory, the $16,000, although they pay it in taxes, in theory, it also raises the property value, isn't that?
The sewer connection
Sort of the idea?
would add value to the property.
Yeah.
It's for the life of the property that it has a sewer connection, so it does multiple different things. Obviously, it takes away the burden of having to replace the septic when it does fail, which has a significant cost to it, as Ms. Jackson had
Yep.
mentioned. A connection is far cheaper, typically, than the average septic system, and it's for the life of the property. So when the connection is made to the sewer and the septic goes away, whether the tank is crushed, filled in, or whichever, which is determined by the Board of Health, that also frees up a buildable spot on that property. Some people have those unsightly mounds in their yards because the
Okay.
original septic failed.
So
and
it's
the
not
only-
just they stop using it, they actually decommission that.
Exactly.
They can't use
Yeah.
it anymore.
So now that area could be used
Yeah,
as
sure.
something that could be buildable. You could put an addition on where
Yep.
typically in the past you wouldn't be able to put an addition over your existing septic.
Right.
You put a garage, a driveway, something, it makes a little bit more usable property. So it does add value. It does add more buildable space to your lot in most circumstances.
And all those factors are what the assessor's office uses to come up with the number, basically, right?
Exactly.
We have a rate study company that comes in also and helps us with to set these betterment rates and rates. That right? Is that correct?
It is.
Okay.
Now, this was before I was around, but was this something voted on at town meeting?
I was just gonna ask
Yes.
that.
Yeah, so.
Twice.
I mean, it's, I understand Miss Jackson's frustration, and at the same time, where she's saying, I didn't ask for this and whatnot, but it was a town decision.
Right.
It was presented to the Board of Selectmen by the schools and the Housing Authority.
So there's nothing in the town bylaws that requires if there's a sewer line going, you have to go. This was a thing that came up at town meeting, they decided and voted, and that's.
I think sewer availability. It's a sewer availability
It's a sewer
charge.
availability, yes.
Charge. So we've had this issue on a couple of streets that I can remember. One of the K streets,
Yep.
Keith, and also on Plain. I think we also had a similar issues that people had. And it doesn't matter what your financial situation is, it's a hit regardless. And that's why they try to make it a little easier for you to stretch it over the 20 years. And I don't know what the interest is. I mean, how much?
I believe it was 2.5%.
2.5?
Incredibly low. I think it was as low as could be given for that loan for that term. So it does get spread out over time. I'm not sure where the interest goes. I don't believe it comes to us. I believe
Yeah.
our payment, is our payment. I'm sure somebody's putting up the money. That's where the interest most
Yeah,
likely goes
exactly.
to.
Yeah.
A typical bank would be the same
Yeah.
way, most likely at a higher interest rate.
And also, another thing Miss Jackson was talking about was, as far as taxes go, sewer projects aren't funded by
Right.
Yeah,
general
that's
fund
separate.
tax money.
Tax
Correct.
money,
So,
Yeah, an enterprise, so we're separate. It's a separate entity, yep. So we'll talk to Steve and we'll give her some more insight and hopefully we can put her at ease. We understand her this situation and I know she's not the only one in town. So we're gonna hopefully resolve that next week. And then we'll put her on the agenda if we can to give her either a call back or have her call in.
I know
However
Steve is away for the week. I'm not
Steve
sure
is? Okay.
what his agenda looks like for next week for our
Okay.
meeting that's already scheduled, so
Okay.
I'm not gonna say that we can lock him in
Of
to
course,
have
I
everything ready.
understand.
I will do my best to reach out to his
Worst,
worker.
worst case though, that we'll
Right.
have to go
We
to,
would have to
obviously,
push
next
it.
meeting, so
Yeah.
because we, to do our due diligence, we really need the expert here.
Yes. Exactly.
Agreed.
Okay.
You wanna continue with superintendents?
I will continue.
Yeah.
So I believe we were talking about 195 Mansfield Ave, that's taken care of, the MOA and the agent letter.
Yep.
Jump over to another 40B subdivision. Steve, you may remember the name Island Brook. I'm not sure if James remembers it from just hearing words around town, but it's been an ongoing project for the 20-something years that I've been here. It's been on and off, more times than not. I believe now they've gotten to see the work that's going on out there on East Main Street.
Is this the guy that wanted to put his private sewer on the
That's
town property?
exactly what that
Okay.
is. So they're concerned when the moratorium goes on the road that should they want to do something there, they're obviously gonna be held up now by the state moratorium on that road. So I explained to them in a few different conversations that at a minimum, we would need a copy of their engineered plans showing their proposed lot, their proposed connections. And I questioned what they were going to do for their wastewater. They come back with, they had hoped to install a private sewer main down the edge of the road and connect it to the MFN sewer line, which
It's not feasible.
I know it's a
Is it?
board decision. I guess it doesn't sit well with me about any of the private lines in town, whether it be sewer or spaghetti lines that are in from water.
Yeah.
I mean, this is from days past, when
Yeah.
things like that were allowed. The only thing I would recommend there, obviously, they need sewer based on the soil conditions and the size of the lots that they're trying to work around, would be to possibly work with them if they install sewer infrastructure in the roadway that can be used for future expansion. Other homes could tie into it. Obviously, manholes would have to be left for clean out, and obviously for connections down the road, should sewer expand in that section. That's my personal opinion of how things should be done. I know there are some wordings in the rules and regulations that, fees can be altered and adjusted based on infrastructure improvements if they benefit a certain amount of I forget the exact wordings, but basically if you provide an infrastructure improvement, the board has the authority to lower or waive fees accordingly.
Which you've done, past, yeah.
Which has been done in the past.
In the end, we do that though, we own that sewer line.
That is correct.
No,
Yep.
okay.
Yep, usually it's a wash or very close to a wash.
Yep.
It would be something that we would look to install somewhere many years down the road.
Right.
Where the contractor has interest in doing something to make his property able to be sold. It's just a step in the right direction for us, whether we use it 2 years from now or 15 years from now.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's active sewer, it generates revenue from the sewer customers.
Is he talking just sewer or water?
He needs water
He
connections
needs
as
them both.
well.
So if he's gonna do a stub, we should probably look at that if, in conjunction with the state job, if that, whatever happens there,
Mhm.
and maybe cut in a cluster of valves if that applies.
Yep. To meet the rules and regulations set in place years ago by the board, it has to be looped. So there'll be two connections coming off the 16-inch main. They have proposed, these are the plans here in front of you guys, two 8-inch connections coming across.
Yep.
At a minimum, I would have to recommend, if
5 meters?
those are installed, to run the lateral across the road. It would be a hot tap on the 16, would be run two laterals across in the areas that they propose, have a 3-way valve cluster at the property line, where we could have a hydrant installed at the end. In case for some reason this project does stall once again, we would have the availability to flush those laterals, and 2 additional hydrants would be in place for fire protection. If they were to continue, that would be a good starting point for both of their.
So they're gonna bring an 8-inch line all the way up and around?
Correct. It's broken down in a few more pages if you go a little further back.
I can't lick my lips because I have to wear a mask.
I believe one connection was close to Carpenter, and here we go right here. There's one 8-inch line coming across,
Okay.
Okay.
and then the other one I believe is up this way, closer to Carpenter.
Off of, was that the, they going off the 16?
That would be off the 16,
Okay.
yep, which is opposite side of the road.
Yeah. What, do we have anything live on that side?
Right now, we still do.
And that's old?
That is the
We
old one.
antiquated, we don't wanna, okay. we
That
don't-
is gonna
yep,
be the
yep,
one that will be abandoned.
Yep, 10-inch.
It varies in size, but yes, there are sections of 10 and 6 there. Alright, and then might even be,
Four, they wanna do, so they wanna do a 4-inch forced?
yes, it is the other water main connection here,
8-inch.
coming out right across from Carpenter Road.
Oh, okay.
And that's their 4-inch proposed that they wanted to run down the side of the road to make their connection there.
Yeah, you
They
got
would-
so much stuff on the ground there now.
It
looks
is
like it's-
extremely difficult. A lot more stuff is being abandoned now with the upgrades that are going on right now. Our pipe will be abandoned shortly, or by the end of the project.
What pipe, that 10-inch?
The 6 and the 10.
But it still stays in the ground
It
though,
will
right?
stay in the ground.
So, what are the possibilities of them, I know this is gonna require dig on that, I know, whether they do, whatever, but using that main as a raceway for that 4-inch, if that's, we're even gonna be allowed. If
The
that's-
only concern I have with that, and I know it worked out well up on West Main Street
Yeah.
for the school,
Yeah,
is the accessibility when people have to connect to it. So we're gonna front quite a few properties here. They would be eligible.
but if this is a forced main, is that something we're gonna allow?
It would be, because they would have to be forced with E1 pumps. So the small pumps, just like down at King Philip, it would be a low pressure force main, not a high pressure force main.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
so it's gonna be different than what's coming from Wheaton then? That's
Yes.
high pressure? Okay,
Exactly.
very good.
Sorry, I didn't explain that.
No, that's okay, I just, it's, for both Jimmy and I, to
Mhm.
be honest with you.
Yep, this will be low pressure.
Because we had people that were concerned with the higher pressure main going in front of their houses, they wanted to tie in, but
Okay.
that's a much more cumbersome task, doing, so it's really not infeasible, is it, with high pressure?
I've talked to multiple different people and gotten multiple different answers.
Yeah.
There are pumps available that can overcome the high pressure that you see in what's typically called a high pressure main. And it varies. The pumps are very expensive and they wear rather quickly depending on how active that force main is.
Yeah.
So it's not impossible, I just don't know if it's practical, is what it comes down to.
Me, it would bother me, because it's probably just a check valve system, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would be, I'd hate to wake up with a swimming pool of that in my basement.
Right, I mean, there's multiple checks on even on the E1, the low pressure sides, there's a check on the E1 pit. There's also a check at the connection, at the clean out.
Yep.
So you have dual checks per se on that sewer. The chances of both of them failing, the pipe would let go before those checks fail.
Okay,
It would actually push and separate a joint.
okay,
But yeah, this and the location that's proposed there, obviously they're not aware of the existing utilities that are in the ground, so this will need to be modified. It would make sense to me to move it into the travel lane, where there are less utilities,
Yeah.
active and abandoned. And we would have to talk to our engineers to see if a 4-inch is large enough in that stretch, because we would want to be able to connect others to it later on down the road.
right,
We don't want to design their space just on
Just on them,
their
right,
requirements.
right.
You know, if they have a 4 coming out and it dumps into a 6, and there's more than enough volume there to handle the rest of the flow coming down from the municipal complex and beyond, based on elevation. That's kind of the pitch that it has.
But are they gonna be able to, if this even flew, a 4-inch going all the way down there, or 6-inch, whatever it may be,
Mhm.
are they gonna be able to tap into that trunk line?
They
That's-
would have to put a manhole in first,
Okay,
which is similar to what the Conduit property did. MFN doesn't allow direct taps into the interceptor.
Right.
There's a manhole with an elevation change to make that work.
okay.
You said this is just for permission to do it in the future, not necessarily implementing this right now?
Exactly. These
So
are
this isn't gonna be done in conjunction with the current project that's going on?
That would be
Main Street.
something that would have to be heavily coordinated. I would have to think that the current contractor that's out there now wouldn't want the added work, but they
Yeah.
may.
The only thing I'm thinking is we tear up East Main Street and rebuild that, and then next year we tear it up again
Yeah.
Right.
to put this in.
Exactly.
Which is what they're concerned about here, is they don't want to get into the fact that, the state comes out there, finishes all of their excavation work, and now they want that road to settle, and they put a moratorium on it even before it's paved, because they want the surface to be primed
Right.
when they pave it. So I think that's what's prompting the urgency for this to come back up. Like I said, it's been up and down since I've been here. Connections, the water portion of it would be relatively simple. You're going across the road, you got 2 connections, leave a 3-way T and a hydrant, so it can be pressure tested, chlorinated, and active.
Yep.
Nothing dry. The sewer is obviously a little bit more involved. Taking up the travel lane, running down, sizing it appropriately. So that would require a little bit of work from our engineers to determine that it's gonna work.
So as far as what they want today, they just wanted to,
This was just presented, it wasn't really even on the agenda, it's just something I
Okay.
wanted to present to you guys. See if you felt okay with moving forward with this. If you wanted them to come in.
I am very sketchy about the sewer, to be honest with you. The water is kind of a no-brainer.
The water seems
Bringing a
very
stub
straightforward.
across.
Yeah.
Bringing a stub across, 2 stubs,
Mhm.
makes sense. It also makes sense with valving too.
Mhm.
I know we're putting valves in, but, maybe another cluster there or one on one side, 2 valves, whatever, so we can amply, if we can isolate easier and less people.
Right.
In the event of an issue. But the sewer, that's another one I'd like to consult Steve on and
Definitely.
definitely get his input
Yeah.
on that to see what he thinks. I do not love the idea of throwing a line down, like the spaghetti line is the perfect term, is another spaghetti line down that. I don't like that at all either. I really
I
don't.
mean, not knowing, knowing in the future, we want to obviously have more of the town to have sewer or
Yep.
sewer available.
Yep.
This would be the way that we could afford to do sections of town if developments are interested in going in and looking to have fees adjusted, waived, whatever it comes out to be.
right.
It would be done a lot quicker to do it this way. We just gotta make sure that everything that we're putting in the ground is compatible with the next step. Again, I'd ask for an updated set of plans. If you look, these are slightly out of date. I believe 2014, 2016 is the original stamp with a few amendments made to it. The original, I think I had a count in here somewhere.
14?
Yeah, I believe originally they,
April 15th?
yeah, they were looking,
2014?
I think at 52 houses originally, and I think they had knocked it down, well, 58, and they knocked it down to 52 based on conservation concerns.
Does our buddy Sean approve of this? He's at your wedding.
It's a challenging piece of property to build on.
Near the wetlands, it's all wetlands.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah,
wet.
it's amazing.
Mhm.
It's amazing.
Got a lot of wetlands around here.
Mm-hmm. So,
Yep.
I said if it was just water, it'd be a no-brainer, and I'd say, sure, we'll get you, you guys run 2 lines across and leave hydrants at the end for future, but the sewer is definitely the concerning part, just like you had said.
Yeah.
And the time, they may not have the time.
Yep.
to
I think
get the
the time
done.
is gonna beat them up
Mhm.
because they're getting ready to go. And why all of a sudden? I mean, the work's been going on for quite some time. I mean, I know you don't know the answer, but I mean, just why now? Why not? 2 months ago.
But I mean, if you're interested,
Well, it's on wetlands.
I can ask these guys
Let's just put
to
it that way.
present.
What?
Said it's on wetlands, let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Certain voids in leadership.
Yeah, I mean, if you'd like to hear from them, I can definitely get them on
Well,
a
I
future
remember,
agenda.
I remember talking about this years ago.
Right.
And then it just got squashed, because I think he bought this land from the people that did the 274.
There was
or something
another
like
name,
that.
yes. Yep, exactly.
Is this where the sewer line is?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. And this is,
so it's right up against it.
yeah, this is, I mean, there's a river or something that runs through here. I
Yeah,
see it
yeah.
Somewhere, and it's all, oh, wow.
I mean, I remember years back, there was actually talk, and I remember going out in the woods back when Dwayne was here, and we had looked at a possible connection to Johnson Drive through one of the back corner here.
That'd be a nice loop.
Yeah.
But it required an under-river
I
crossing,
know her,
and I'm not sure that they were interested in what was involved with that at the time.
yeah. Yeah, that'd be a really nice loop.
It would be.
Yeah.
That's not, how physically far do you think that is? Can't be very far, right?
They must have a scale.
300 feet?
300 feet, so that's probably 500 feet maybe?
Yeah.
Ish.
That's 300 feet right there, so yeah, close
500,
to
yeah.
it, probably 500, yeah.
Give or take.
Yep.
I mean, to do a directional bore is rather expensive.
Yeah.
I'm sure
But
far
in-
more expensive than just pulling an easement and running out a second tap to the road there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And that would be in lieu of looping it back to the,
Exactly.
The main road,
Yep,
right?
they'd have one feed coming in there, the
that
second
would be
feed,
satisfied.
One
loop
going right through there and then right
Yep.
through.
yeah.
that would satisfy the loop requirement, exactly.
With proper valving on both sides and
Mhm.
hydrants and internally. I'm sure the fire department would rather see, a main going all the way around here, so they've got hydrants,
Exactly.
or
Yep.
however, every 500 feet or so.
Right, but when you say looping it, it would have to still connect in a different spot
That's
from
correct.
here, like
Yeah.
over here somewhere or
Yeah,
something,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right.
You're talking, the main's gonna loop here
Okay.
and go around and then here and back
Yeah,
to
right.
here. So, yeah, I mean, if they want to definitely talk about this, we can both agree to, definitely love to hear exactly
Yeah,
what they
I'm
want
a
to do.
fan of
And
that, let them come in
what
and
kind of
talk.
time frame and,
Sorry, John, I'm only on page 2.
really?
Yes?
Jeez.
All right,
Late night.
we're gonna jump over to sewer. King Philip Road,
Okay,
Wednesday, August 4th, we excavated the problematic area we had on King Philip. We actually replaced about a 20-foot section of the sewer pipe. What we found was a rapid change in direction in the existing pipe.
is this the issue that's been ongoing with, okay?
This is the
okay.
issue. We excavated from the existing sewer manhole back past the repair that we did about 14 or 15 years ago, till we found where it looked like the pipe actually started to level out. Cutting this section out, there was actually a straight piece of pipe, 2 couplings where we made the original repair where the first clog was, which was relatively straight. As we got closer to the manhole, the pipe started to curve up and it actually had a very sharp change of direction before coming to the coupling which joined to the existing spout coming out of the manhole.
Wow.
So it would appear that possibly when the manhole was put in, it was put in set 2 grades, so it wouldn't be too low, and the pipe was made to match. So having that little ramp there, we can't say 100% was what was causing the issue, but it definitely gives an area for sediment to fall back
Yeah.
when the pumps shut off, by not having a full, nice level pitch or downgrade to it.
Yep,
So we rectified that with that 20-foot piece of
Great.
pipe, shored it up with stones, bricks, everything we could,
Nice.
and backfilled that. It is yet to be paved. We were letting the road settle as much as we could before we put some paving down on that section. We filled it with stone and dense grade. We did not whack the hole to keep the moisture down instead of bringing it up and making it worse. But large trucks have been driving over it. It's not a problem other than the fact it's just gravel right now. But
Yeah.
we'll get to that. We have a few other areas that we would like to pave at the same time. Last week, believe it or not, was almost too hot to pave. The road would never allow it to set up in time. We would have a detail at any one of our sites if it was in direct sunlight. And
Do we hire a paver or do we do it in-house?
most of the stuff we do in-house. Some of the larger or odd shaped things, if we get into an edge of a driveway or something, we will hire it out. That down there, I think will work in conjunction with the highway department. We can handle that.
Okay,
It's
good.
not a big deal down there. So weeks prior to the operation, we actually had our crews go down and clean the emergency access road, which is down the end of King Philip.
Yep.
Goes into the town forest,
Yep.
into the water department property between wells 5 and 6. So we were able to dress that road up. We opened that for emergency vehicles and for people that were impeded by traffic from the excavation area where we were down. Thankfully, no emergency calls, no complaints. Worked out pretty good.
Good.
Speed was a little bit of an issue, but that's okay. We dealt with that. Cobb Street sewer station. We had the bid opening last Thursday, 11 a.m. here. We actually had 6 bidders for the project. John and I worked with Steve Peterson, ran the bid opening. Documents still need to be verified from Weston and Sampson engineers. As it currently sits, low bid was $156, $199. Second came in at $173,500, and third was $178,000 exact. So pretty small grouping of numbers. There were a few out of the last 3 that were significantly higher, but for the most part, it looks like they came in pretty close to where we had expected. We do have provisions in the contract for giving additional time, knowing that there are huge delays right now on getting any type of
Yeah.
equipment, any type of supply.
Everything.
The biggest part of this is the generator, so once that is verified, that will be the first thing that they're gonna order, and they will know and let us know what their lead time is on that.
They haven't ordered the generator yet?
Not until they know that they have the contract and we verify all their documents.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the contractor's ordering the generator, correct?
Contractors ordering a generator, yep. Yeah, once Weston and Sampson verifies all the bid documents and everything is in order,
Yeah.
I will have the award bid letter, which I will sign and send off to them, which will start the process.
Okay.
Again.
We still have the temp one there?
We still have an existing generator that's on site and works flawlessly.
It works, okay.
It's just aged. So this is the biggest part of that project. There is some other miscellaneous lighting and conduit repairs that will be done. We had some leaky conduits in the second floor of the wet well. Obviously, never good to have water and electric going together. So we're gonna solve that problem real quick. Some of the lights, the explosive proof, yeah, easy for me to say, lights in the wet well need to be replaced. They were done maybe 12 years ago, but in such a heavily corrosive environment, even they fail. So we want to make sure that we just have ample lighting that's down there. And now with the new LED lights, no heat, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yep.
To do that. So this is phase 1 of a multi-step process that we'll see at Cobb Street. And we'll probably do the same at its sister station, which is the Greatwood Station, even though it doesn't see the same amount of use. They're still 30 plus years old. So let's see. And we'll jump over to more sewer, West Main Street. Everybody's favorite project there. I have documents that I have to present to you guys tonight, which is actually the final request for Rockio. So I have.
Didn't we just do a final thing for him? Or is this,
No, it was discussion about this document, is what,
Oh, okay.
is what we had talked about. So this is the balance and change order. And basically what this does here is actual quantities and qualities based here from what the estimated quantities and qualities were.
So this is what Steve was talking about, that this is what we're paying and we're closing it out, it's done.
100%.
Yes.
So this is, okay. all right,
These
okay.
two documents here and the document that I had notarized this afternoon will close this out.
Okay,
So this document here is the balancing change order. There is a dollar amount that's on there. I believe it needs to be read
Okay.
and voted on.
That change.
Is it the-
Which one is the amount?
the net change in contract price, so that's the 243,856.86?
That is correct. That's for balancing
Okay.
change order number 7 for Rockio.
Okay, we can do that now,
We're
right?
doing them, so, yeah, yeah.
Okay, I motion to approve the balancing change order in the amount of $243,856.86.
I second it.
Is that right?
Yep. Um,
Yeah, and from his brief description in
Oh,
here, it was
okay.
actual versus estimated quantities and was also to cover the decision made by the board to perform full width paving along the impacted
yeah,
route
yeah,
of
yeah,
123.
yeah.
So that's why that number is where it is.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Do we sign this?
yep, I believe so. We signed this, right, Frank?
I believe there are sections there.
Yeah,
Or
sorry,
that-
sorry for my delay, by the way.
No, that's fine. There's a good possibility that you just may need to approve that one.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's all it is.
I am incorrect. That one is just to be voted on and approved. This
Okay.
is the one for signatures. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Okay. But we are still under budget, correct?
You are exactly correct.
Yep. And the road looks great.
Yeah,
I mean, that was, you know.
It is?
That was,
Okay, so this is voted on and approved.
yep.
Okay, this is pay application number 17 for Rockio. Should be in the amount of 165,187.63.
And this is, what is this exactly?
This is the
Change
final
orders.
pay request.
Change order number 6.
Okay.
Release of the remaining retainage.
Okay, I move that we approve the final change order, number 6, in the amount of $165,187.63.
I second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we sign this one.
And that one
She's
does
got her little
have
cute little
spots for
tabs.
signatures. And with these two documents and the notarized letter, the project will be completed once all this goes to SRF.
Nice.
There should be 3 copies there.
All right.
Not sure that was ever gonna happen when that first started, I'll tell you that.
They're ringing in my ears.
That's because it's hot in here.
It's because I got underwear on my face.
You can't all have the fancy one like Peter's.
I know,
got.
Pete's got the fancy one
Nice.
The
still.
Norton, yes.
Yeah, the spirit of Norton right there.
That's right, the honorary mayor Norton. That's right, Steve.
That's right, I should say mayor on there, Peter.
The mayor, yep.
All right.
I'm just joking, I don't have another page. I saw the eyes. That is
So-
it for me tonight, guys.
Wow.
Any questions? Meeting still on for next Tuesday, same time, same place?
Yes. Couple things for me. Well, 3 things, actually. Have we gotten any PFAS results back yet? Is that still pending?
I believe we did.
I
yeah.
believe we did,
And
and
we
the
got
second round was low, yes,
Both are under the 20
Excellent.
parts.
yes. Even the additional samples that we had to take at 4, 5, and 6 independently, everything came back under.
Nice.
The one well that we have that's of any concern, there was a little increase. I believe we have to monthly sample that, but all the others I believe are quarterly.
That's great. That's
Yep.
great news.
So third
Um,
round is out. it seems to take forever.
Okay.
But, I have no reason to believe that we're gonna see anything other than what we have been seeing with our third and final round, and that'll determine what our sampling frequency will be moving forward. I think it's gonna stay where it is now.
Good, good. That's excellent. That's
It is
Great
It
news.
is good news.
Yep.
It is.
Secondly, I'd like to make a date to do an open house at the plant. I think it's time to invite people in, fellow board people in town, definitely the homeowners and people that help pay for this would be probably love to see it, I think.
Did you have a number of dates or a time frame or something that I need to coordinate with the operators? Make sure that we don't have any scheduled work or anything going on.
I haven't had anything, and we probably should work it around their schedule. I'm
Okay. I mean, thinking time of day, do we have anything ballpark or, I mean,
well, I'm thinking a little. I don't want to do it like in the middle of the day because a lot of people aren't going to be able to attend.
yeah,
Be nice to have it maybe on a Saturday,
okay.
at like a noontime on a Saturday, or
That would work.
that way people are generally not working. They'll be able to have the opportunity to attend.
Okay.
I mean, that's when we have our town meeting, so that's when they're going to get the most people. So I think that would make sense. I
Are we
suppose.
looking, is this going to the public, or who are we putting this out to?
Yeah, or the public and everybody that wants to attend and see the, it's just a couple hours long, and we'll set up some tents and maybe do some coffee donuts. I don't know.
What is that?
We can discuss that later.
What is that?
We haven't discussed exactly the date yet, Pete, but we're probably gonna be on a Saturday, maybe in September.
What is it?
It's
For an
an open house for
treatment
the treatment plant. Yep.
When is the date?
Well, we haven't figured that out yet, Pete.
Still working on that one,
Yeah, we're
Peter.
still working on that, but we'll more to follow. You'll be one of the first to know.
Yes.
So we'll figure out a September date.
One issue to consider, I don't know if it's something where you want to do multiple, is parking.
It's
up
parking
there.
house, yeah. I was thinking
Parking,
that.
yeah, that's right.
Parking's very
wasn't-
limited,
Did not even think
and-
about that. Excellent.
It's on a tough road to park on, and there's a long gravel driveway to walk up. So, I mean, there's limited parking at the plant where there's paved.
Is there parking at the Great Woods over there, or there's really not a lot?
Very
I mean,
limited, limited, but
because maybe we could rent maybe a golf cart that holds 8 people or something like that for people's
Go back and forth and give little tours
Yeah.
or whatever during the shindig?
see the property or something.
It's on off Plain Street, right?
Yes, it is.
Correct. But we can discuss more.
Yeah,
At least
we'll
get the
talk
ball
a little
rolling
bit
and
more
get a
about
date.
it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can get the logistics later
Mm.
about what we can do and how we can get people up and down safely.
Are there any safety concerns of the public going in the treatment plant as far as like PPE or anything like that?
We could most likely have the plant down at the time, so
Oh,
it wouldn't
okay.
actually be active. We could be running off storage, still be able to show people exactly what
Right.
goes on.
And we could probably cone it off and maybe put some caution to,
Yeah.
so people don't get close to sensitive areas or children if they, if that applies. And
I want the detailed tour where I get to get close to everything.
you got it. That's not a
I
problem.
want the special tour.
Yeah, that'd be great. And thirdly, I know we had talked about this a while ago about the rebate for the, yeah. Where are we on that? Is that
I believe.
still ongoing? I know Rose is looking into the feasibility of the funds and stuff, so.
Yeah, she was working on the final numbers to see just what it was going to be, so we could work those numbers into basically the negative aspect.
I really
of the
don't
budget,
foresee,
but-
my opinion, I really don't foresee everybody doing this.
Mhm.
So I don't think it's, but I mean, we have to be prepared in the event.
Were we gonna put anything in there to stipulate to be able to qualify for it, or is it just gonna be anyone in town?
Well, it's gonna be, it's gonna be anyone, we really can't discriminate against anybody that wants to put this in, but if they've already got one in their system, we can't, we're not gonna pay for another one that you've already got one
Yeah.
in your system. Other than.
That's what I'm wondering about, or maybe someone wants to hook their buddy up who lives in the next town over or something like that.
We've got to inspect it as well, obviously, it's
Okay.
gonna have to be.
So it's not just gonna be a, hey, here's my coupon, here's your money, and go, all right.
The form is pretty basic that we have, where you're just gonna, have all the pertinent information of everybody, the receipt of, we're gonna review all that, and then we're gonna do inspection to make sure that it's installed and installed
Okay,
properly.
Cool.
Yep,
Yeah, that's awesome.
yep, I think it's gonna help a lot of people out.
It'll just give people the option of one more tool
Yep,
to help them out.
I think so, I think it'll be a good thing, so if we can, hopefully. You all right?
Yep, okay?
Okay. That's it, that's all I had.
Okay.
That's all I had, yep. And, has anyone else got anything, anyone out there in radio and TV land?
If there's
Just
music
that,
playing, I believe it's
just that
just
fancy
us.
music,
Yeah.
okay. All right, well, Jim, your favorite motion?
I motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'm gonna second that,
Okay.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Good night, everybody, thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you.